And joining me now to break all this down via Skype from the White House, Bill Gallo of VOA News. And in our D.C. studio, VOA National Security Correspondent Jeff Selden. Thank you, gentlemen, for joining us. So there's plenty to talk about. So first to you, Bill, at the White House. Is the president having what Schumer called a crisis of credibility? And, if so, how's he get out of it? The shuttle is equipped with numerous sensors, giving it 360-degree vision, so that when something walks in front of the shuttle, it stops. Here's how the teacher knows Chloe's hand is in the air. Chloe clicks a mouse and moves a slider on the website, which raises the Chlobot to about the same height as the teacher's eye level.
Carolyn, why is it so important for us to be wearing these funky glasses while viewing the eclipse?
Well, these are geeky glasses, right? But you really do protect your eyes. Oh, come on.
It looks great on you. I love it. Okay.
But you have to, because the sun is so bright but that you can't stand and look at it, right? But you'll be tempted to, right? Because
you could go blind, is that what it is?
Absolutely. A man in 1963 went partially blind, still is, because he looked at the sun for 20 seconds. Woodson County, Kansas, America's heartland. Flat plains of prairie hay. Friendly people who like to linger a while. Out here, people don't lock their doors. They have coyotes running around, and 3 out of 4 people voted for President Trump.
I think the heartland elected Donald Trump.
Rodney Greiser owns more than 1,000 hectares of corn and soybeans.
I think there's a common sense out here that people don't get when they're in the city. They have blinders on.
He says agriculture is a surplus industry, so he wants President Trump to make it more competitive in global markets.
If we wreck middle America, if we wreck agriculture, it will filter through the whole economy and eventually the coasts will feel it.
Agriculture is what's keeping Greiser's region alive, but barely. Woodson County is the poorest county in Kansas.
When I was a kid, we had 4 implement dealers and 3 or 4 car dealers, and don't got nothing left.
Gary Steele works the same hay farm where he was born. His sons moved out of state for jobs. He says the market for hay has dried up, same for corn.
Our input cost is awful high compared to the price we get out of stuff.
Steele's putting his hope in Trump.
So far, so good. He's pissed everybody off. That's a good sign.
Inside the Feed Bunk restaurant, a rare find, a table of mostly Democrats celebrating an 81st birthday. Willina Tressler didn't vote for Trump, but she has some advice for him.
Shut up. Sit down and listen to advisors around him. That'd be to start with.
Democrat or Republican, these Kansans have the same American dream. Bring jobs back and profits to the farms, and our kids will come home. Carolyn Prasuti, VOA News in Woodson County, Kansas. Felicia Luna prides herself on keeping a spotless house, even the day before she has brain surgery.
Your eye exam went good?
She's at peace with the operation because she has been inside her own brain through virtual reality.
This gives me a clear image of what exactly it looks like and the size of it.
Luna traces the path her neurosurgeon will take to clip her aneurysm and stop its growth.
I was an emotional wreck, but now I feel like I know exactly what's going to happen.
So does the doctor.
But I'll tell you when.
On the eve of the operation, Dr. Gary Steinberg reviews Luna's case to train future surgeons. The Stanford medical students appear as avatars inside her skull.
Kevin, can you see what I'm pointing at? What is that? That's the cella, and what's this here?
Steinberg leads them through Luna's brain, explaining his strategy.
So now we're going to go through into the craniotomy site.
It's also a rehearsal for him as he travels through the brain in 360 degrees.
So we can see the back of the aneurysm, the side. We can see its relationship to the parent vessel that it arises. This is something we could never do before.
The next day, monitors in the operating room display the same 3D images for Luna's actual surgery. contrast dye makes the vessels appear in CT scans and angiograms, which are then reconstructed into the VR program.
Can you flip this?
Dr. Steinberg does these VR surgeries 1 or 2 every week, but he foresees a future where he's not even in the operating room. He thinks someday he'll operate remotely with robotic arms, but the lag time makes that impossible now. Dr. Steinberg makes a final VR confirmation.
I'm simulating drilling away the bone that's overlying the aneurysm.
Minutes later, he starts the real operation in what's now familiar territory. For now, Stanford uses this VR technology for brain and spine cases. There is no extra charge for the use of VR. Donors and the department pay the fee. Doctors say the more complicated the anatomy, the more useful the technique.
That's good, thank you.
Luna's surgery is successful. After all, Dr. Steinberg has accomplished it many times before, virtually. Carolyn Prasuti, VOA News, Stanford, California.
So there are briefs due today and briefs due tomorrow. As the previous order was under judicial suspension.
It seems everyone in America has an opinion about the new travel order.
This revised executive order.
So we've heard from a lot of experts, we've heard from all the pundits about the president's proposed travel ban, but we wanted to take you to the real people, the true American immigrants. So I've got my camera, I've got you guys. Come on, let's go. Most Washington cabbies are from elsewhere.
My name is Lama Safa. I came from Ethiopia.
My name is Mengis Gabre. I'm from Eritrea.
I'm from Pakistan.
6,000 drivers cruise the nation's capital. To the White House, please.
Somalia is supposed to be American allies.
Abdi Hassan is from Somalia. The 90-day travel ban affects his country and 5 others.
To say someone coming from the airport, oh, you are Muslim, go this side. Oh, you are black, go this side. Or you are from Somalia or Sudan, go this side. It makes the whole country look bad.
Okay, you're saying we're going...
Liaquat Hussein came to the U.S. in 1967. He agrees with the extra security measures to prevent terrorism.
So it's not mean all Muslim is bad, and United States didn't ban everybody. They're banning bad people.
Can we go around the corner to the Washington Monument? The taxi drivers express the most sympathy for the Syrian refugees. The new order bars their arrivals until July. Hebtam Talan came from Ethiopia 15 years ago.
I was a refugee once. America is the one who rescued me.
Nebiat Teki of Eritrea is raising 2 teenagers in the U.S.
You can't have a good security to stop like those people, but like from Syria people, they are children.
To the Capitol? These cabbies are not in charge of U.S. policy, but they share their opinions as they drive many legislators and White House officials along the D.C. streets. As they say, what's there to do in a taxi but talk?
Meter off.
Carolyn Prasuti, VOA News, Washington. Hey, Facebook friends, Carolyn Prasuti with Voice of America TV here. I'm in the middle of a counter-protest in Boston, Massachusetts. There are hundreds of people taking to the streets to walk about 3 kilometers to the Boston Common, a popular spot for protests. Everyone that you see behind me supports basically the same ideas. They are against Nazis, they are against white supremacy, they are for gay people, they are for inclusion, they are carrying signs that say Black Lives Matter. They will continue to march for about a half an hour longer. Police aren't worried about them now, but they do worry if there are any clashes with the people of an opposite opinion in the Boston Common. Those are people who say they are for free speech, but people worry that they are the same people who were in Charlottesville, Virginia last week when we had the violent confrontations. Let me see if I can talk to somebody who'd like to tell me why he's marching. Hi. Can you tell me why you're marching?
To stand up for Black lives, for every group that's being marginalized and oppressed right now.
And how long do you think you'll stay out today?
I have no idea. Right now with this many people, I think that the neo-Nazis should be worried about violence. I think they're going to be needing the police protection today.
You think the counter-protesters outnumber them?
I can't imagine otherwise.
Thank you. What's your name?
Providence.
Okay, thank you, Steve. Tell me why you're marching today.
Because everybody has the right to be free and equal and have justice.
And which people do you mean?
Black people, white people, all people, everybody of every color, race, creed, sexuality, you name it. Hate is the death of democracy.
Is this the worst you've ever seen it in our country?
It's always been there, it's just been under the surface.
And what do you think needs to be done about it?
People need to acknowledge their complicity and take steps to dismantle white supremacy and racism.
Are you hopeful for that?
Sometimes.
Thank you very much. All right, so stay tuned to Voice of America all day. We'll be bringing you updates on Facebook, telling you what happens when this crowd does come into contact with people of opposite opinions. But for now, I'm Carolyn Pursuti, VOA News.